Hey grade threes, we are going to start looking at how we can divide bigger numbers. So when it comes to division, all right, there's two ways that I'm going to show you. The first way, which we're going to focus on this week, is how we divide numbers that divide perfectly, all right? And then the second way, which we'll look at next week, is how we divide numbers where there will be a remainder, which is a little bit more complicated, but we'll get to that. And I have faith in you. I know that you can do it. All right, so like I said, this week we're going to focus on numbers that divide perfectly. So because 45 divided by 3 is not something that we can do quickly in our head, all right? It's not like our division tables where we learn off by heart, okay? We need to apply a method in order to solve that sum. All right, so what do we always do when we have a big number like this? We break it down, okay? But when it comes to division, we break it down differently. All right, we don't break it down into hundreds, tens, units. When it comes to division, we apply the golden rule. This is the golden rule, okay? You break down the bigger number into multiples of what you are dividing by. I repeat, you break down the bigger number into multiples of what you are dividing by. So let's have a look at that. All right, this 45, we've got here 45 divided by 3. So 45 is our bigger number. That is the number that we're going to have to break down. All right, and how do we break it down? We break it down into multiples of the number we're dividing by. So in this case, we're dividing by 3. So we have to break down 45 into multiples of 3. Okay, so I'm going to go 30 and 15. All right, that is how I've broken 45 down. If I add 30 and 15, I'm going to get 45. All right. Now, let's just discuss that further. Why don't I break 45 down into 40 and 5? All right, tens and units. Why don't I break it down? The simple answer to that is because if we divide those numbers by 3, they will not divide perfectly. All right, you cannot divide 40 by 3 perfectly. You cannot divide 5 by 3 perfectly either. For each one of those, there will be a remainder, all right? And it will just make it complicated and it won't work out. So the numbers that we choose, all right, have to be numbers that we can divide by 3, all right? So both 30 and 15, we can divide by 3, and we'll get an answer with no remainder. It'll divide perfectly, in other words. All right, so you might ask me, Mrs. Bickard, how did you choose 30 and 15? All right, so there's a little trick, okay, to help you with this. All right, to help you to choose what numbers to use to break it down. So you look at what you're dividing by, all right, and you just quickly times that by 10. If I times 3 by 10, I'm going to get 30. You write that number down, and then you see what's left out of 45. All right, so if I take away 30 from 45, I've got 15 left. All right, so that is just a little trick. Okay, we take this number here, we quickly times it by 10, and we get a number to start off with, and then we see what is left over. All right, let's finish the sum. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 15 divided by 3 is 5. All right, we add those two amounts together and we get an answer of 15. All right. Now, I know your parents will say to you, oh, why don't we just use the old method of division? So let's have a look at the old method of division. All right, so the old method, you would set it out like this. That means divide. And you would start dividing. And you would start dividing by the tens, and you would say, how many times does 3 go into 4? And your answer would go into 4 once. all right, but now there's a remainder, okay? So there's a remainder 1, so we put that 1 here, all right? Now the problem is, okay, firstly, this is not a 4, okay? That is actually 40, all right? And you say there's a remainder 1, but all of a sudden that 1 becomes a 10 to make this number 15. And then you go 3 into 15 is 5. All right, 3 goes into 15 5 times to get an answer of 15. All right, so it is a way that you can use, all right? We don't say that you can't use that method. It's just not based on sound mathematics, all right? 3 goes into 4, that is not a 4, that is a 40. Remainder 1, then that 1 becomes a 10 to make that 15. All right, it's not sound mathematics. So you will see in your Build Your Brain Power, you will see in Pragmas, the preferred method is this way. All right, this is the way we prefer you to do it. All right, so let's have a look at another example just to get you on your way. All right, so we're going to have 52. Let's divide by 4 now. All right, so what does our golden rule say? We have to break down the bigger number into multiples of what we're dividing by. So in this case, we're dividing by 4. All right, so remember my little trick? Take this number and times by 10, we have 40. All right, if I take 40 away from 52, what am I left with? I'm left with 12. All right, now both those numbers are multiples of 4, which means I can divide by 4 and they will divide perfectly. 40 divided by 4 is 10. 12 divided by 4 is 13. All right, put those two amounts together to get a final answer of 13. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 10 and 3 is 13. All right, so I think that's pretty easy. All right, once you get the hang of it, once you remember your golden rule, all right, and the way we break down, all right, then division is actually pretty simple. So let's try one more example. Let's try 75 divided by 5. So now we're dividing by 5. What is our golden rule? Our golden rule says we divide 75 into multiples of what we're dividing by. In other words, into multiples of 5. All right, so let's do a little trick. Go 5 times 10, you got 50. Make that your starting number. See what you have left. If I take 50 away from 75, I've got 25 left. All right, remember these two amounts have to add up to that. It cannot add up to something else, otherwise you're changing the sum here. I mean, you cannot do that. All right, so I've broken 75 down into 50 and 25. Now we can divide by 5. So 50 divided by 5 will be 10, and 25 divided by 5 will be 5. All right, and we add those two little amounts together, and we have a final answer of 15. All right, now boys and girls, I'm going to give you some sums to do. Let's see how you do. All right, I think to start you off with, I'm going to just help you break it down. All right, so you're going to solve these sums, these division sums. All right, and just because it's something new to you, all right, I'm going to help you out. So remember our golden rule. Always remember your golden rule when you're dividing. Okay, here we got 42 divided by 3. All right, so let's do our little trick. 3 times 10 is 30. What do we have left? We got 12. All right, so that's how you're going to break 42 down into 30 and 12. All right, 56 divided by 4. Let's do our little trick. 4 times 10 is 40. All right, what do we have left? We have 16. All right, so that's how we're going to break 36 down into 40 and 16. This one here, 65 divided by 5. Do your little trick. 5 times 10 is 50. What do you have left? You have 15. And then lastly, actually, let's see if you can do this last one by yourself. Okay, apply your golden rule of breaking down and then just go ahead and divide by 3. All right, so let's see how you do on these sums today. All right, and then tomorrow I'm going to give you some more sums and you're going to have to divide and break them down all by yourself. All right, but I know that you guys can definitely do it. Just don't forget your golden rule of division.